Welcome to First and Goal, presented by Pickett Sports, breaking down week 12 of the NFL. Hope everyone had a nice Thanksgiving as we wrap up Thanksgiving weekend. Boy, a lot of sports over the last 4 or 5 days between the World Cup, the college basketball, college football. There's a lot going on to discuss everything. BradThomas, Matt Mcafee. Boys, what's going on? Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes,
Happy
happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Man, this is like the best week in if you're a football lover. Like you get college football all week, NFL all weekend. Like it's beautiful.
Friday afternoon games. I love those Black
Yeah.
Friday games. You wake up at like noon, you got a game on Friday. It's the best.
Yep.
Bowl season's good too, but yeah, man, this was as good as anything. I'm actually looking forward to the next few days when it slows down a little bit so I can catch up on some sleep. I mean, I'm staying up late watching these games, waking up early watching these games. It's a lot.
Yep. I agree.
Oh man, and you're throwing World Cup in there. We got 5 a.m. kickoff.
5 a.m.
Yeah,
kickoff.
it's I feel like I'm burning the candle on both ends here. With the LA basketball game that tips off at 10:30, and I'm like, oh God, like can I even stay up for this thing? But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, we're spoiled right now.
Yeah, we
It
are.
makes you appreciate all of this stuff and how a couple years ago when none of this was happening, you're just like, oh my God, it was
Yeah.
brutal for a minute. And now it's just awesome to have so much going on. So tons of opportunities to get some money.
Yeah, and you mentioned the LA games kick off start at like 10:30. College basketball's worse. College basketball, they have these games starting like
Oh
1:30
God.
in Eastern time in the morning. It's
Yeah.
just
Wow.
it's great with all
My
these
buddy was
tournaments.
texting me about, hey, are you watching Purdue? Like, and I'm like, isn't it like they're playing in Hawaii? It's like 1
Yeah.
a.m., dude. I'm not watching Purdue right now.
Yes.
But
All right, let's get into it. Not the prettiest slate, to be honest. The 3 games on Thanksgiving sort of take away from the slate here, but hey, it's football. It's a chance to make money. Not too many of these left here as we round out November. Next week, we head in towards December. So, man, I say it every week, but the season just goes by quickly. One game that's somewhat interesting, Baltimore now laying 3.5 in Jacksonville. 43.5 is the total. There's probably some fours out there if you shop around. Brad, start us off here. Jags and Ravens, what you got?
Every part of me wants to say I'm going to bet Jacksonville, right? The number sitting here at 3.5. They're at home. The Ravens are, I think, are a good enough team to compete for a Super Bowl, but a good enough team to lose any single game they play. They are one of those kind of teams where one week they show up, one week they don't. But for me to trust Jacksonville, I don't think I've gotten there all the way yet. So ultimately, I end up going with the Ravens for my circa pick at 3.5. I'm trusting Lamar Jackson, and I do think that Carolina Panthers game was a bit of an anomaly, or a bit of it happens, like Tampa Bay versus Carolina. Like pretty much when these teams play Carolina, I think they kind of overlook the skill set of this Carolina Panthers team, and you get these funky games. So for me, I'm ended up ultimately going with the Ravens here minus 3.5.
yeah, that's the way I would lean to. Jacksonville, they've got the week to prepare, which is nice, but they're 3-7 ATS on the year, and I just I keep going back to give me Lamar Jackson, give me Justin Tucker, and like I like my chances here versus Trevor Lawrence. Oh, my camera's starting to wobble
All
on me.
good.
Sorry about that, but yeah, I feel like Baltimore will win this game. If you're catching 3.5, 4, you might just cover with the Jags because Baltimore showed last week against Carolina they're not going to run away and hide from anybody. So yeah, tight game, tough to call. I might find a prop within the game to parlay with the Ravens money line and get that around even money or a little plus money. I feel like that would be the way to attack it. Find some Mark Andrews props or Lamar Jackson rushing props, something like that. And I think you can get into plus money and have Baltimore on your side.
I don't have a lot that I love, especially at these current numbers. I like the Jets early in the week at 4.5, 5. I can't play it
Yeah.
at 7. This is actually one game I do like. I like the Jags. I think, not all bye weeks are created equal. The Jags are coming off a bye, and Lamar in Baltimore, they're such a unique, such an oddball offense. Having time to prepare, I think, helps. I think the strength of Jacksonville, it's not the Golden Boy Lawrence, it's their athletic front four, and they're quick, they're big, they're strong, and you need that to contain Lamar. So I think matchup wise, it's a a good matchup here for the Jags. If you look at their point differential, things like that, I think they're plus points in terms of net on the year. So they played better. They just had bad luck in close games. And like you said, Baltimore, do we really trust them to get margin against anybody? So you never feel great about taking the Jags, but I did take the Jags here, plus the points. First touchdown score, anything you guys are looking at here as I get to the odds here? I'm going to use the FanDuel odds. The short shot, ATN 6-1, Andrew 7-1, Kirk 950. Matt, anything first touchdown? Brad, doesn't matter. Whoever wants to go.
Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, I'll go first. I'd probably go with Gus Edwards, and I wanted to say that I feel like the Gus Edwards line for his rushing is too low. He was a full participant in practice this week, so you know he's going to get the carries. 37.5. I think everything about his prop is too low. I also did get duped yesterday with Blake Corum saying everything was too low. So if you play Gus Edwards for first touchdown, I'd probably be a little bit more a little safer than I normally am, and I'll probably play his prop a little bit smaller too.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird one because it could. Kenyon Drake is a little healthier. They trust Kenyon Drake down in there too. Like, and yeah, if the Gus bus has a flat tire or something like that, like he still may be the short. I think he's the short yardage guy, over Drake. But gosh, if he's limited at all, who knows? I mean, Lamar's always in play. Mark Andrews looks like a good play as well. But who knows, man? It's a tough one. Maybe just go deeper into the thing and take a flyer on a James Prochet or somebody like that. They just bring some help. Patrick Ricard, maybe they give the big fullback a little fullback dive down there. It's a tough one for me. I think this touchdowns will be at a premium. You may be waiting on this first touchdown until the second quarter. Probably not a game I want to invest any money on first TD.
All right, moving along. Speaking of games you don't want to invest on, games you don't want to watch too much of, a Super Bowl rematch from 5 or 6 years ago now. I think 7 years ago, 2015. The Carolina Panthers and the Denver Broncos. Carolina is getting 1.5 at home. Total 36.5. That's about as low as you'll see for an NFL total. That is like Minnesota, Iowa or something in college football. Boy, that is an ugly, ugly game, ugly total. I don't like either side. I think Carolina is a good teaser piece. Matt, start us off here. Give us some thoughts on the Broncos and the Panthers.
Yeah, gosh. I think there's a sneaky value here in the Panthers. I like what you said about the teaser leg. I think that makes a lot of sense. Again, Denver's offense is not going to run away and hide from you. They finally, cut Melvin Gordon because he keeps fumbling the ball. But what Carolina does good is that front seven. Like they slow down the run. They do things like that. And so I don't trust Russell Wilson to throw the ball over top and really do a lot. So, and why is it only 1 point? Denver at home, right? I mean, it makes sense that it should be
at Carolina.
I have Denver at Carolina. Yeah.
Excuse me. Okay. I've watched so much soccer where the home team.
Yes.
Got me backwards. So excuse me. All right. Well, then that makes a little more sense that Carolina is at home. It's too close for me, so I'm not going to get it. I'm not getting invested at all.
Yeah, for me, this was an interesting game, right? Like you have a Carolina team for some reason, like Carolina's like 26 in defensive DVOA, yet somehow they make these high-powered offenses look obsolete. Like it doesn't make sense. Like it kind of reminded me of that run that the Giants were on early in the year, where the Giants kept winning games, yet if you look at all the advanced metrics, none of them kind of correlated with success. So I'd probably lean the Broncos here. Even with moving Bradley Chubb, they've still shown that they're hanging their hats on defense. But it's just the line doesn't make sense to me. Why? Like I like what Matt said. Why is it only -1? Why is it -120 on the money line when I think Denver's the better team? Like clear as day. One thing I want to see is how Latavius Murray handles this number one role now, with no one not having to chase the role. He doesn't have to chase it from Melvin Gordon anymore. From a prop perspective, I do kind of like Cortland Sutton over 61.5. But again, this is a game that I feel like has a chance to be really gross. Like I don't want to take overs in an under game. Anytime I'm betting props, if I think the game's going to go under, I don't really want to take player prop overs just because game script's not going to really be in your favor. So it's a total stay away from me, but I do lean Broncos. I do lean Courtland Sutton over 61.5 receiving yards.
You hinted on the touchdown score bet. Foreman's a short shot plus 550. Murray 6-1. No touchdown, 43-1. I don't know. Matt, anything here for you for first touchdown? 43-1 is probably not enough, although, yeah, it's probably not enough, right?
I think I'm going Sam Darnold.
That's a good one. He runs more than people think. I was just looking at him, but only 19-1. Maybe there's a better price out there. I'm looking at FanDuel.
I'm looking at 22-1 on DraftKings right now.
Not terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's been out because of his ankle this whole year. Like he's had this ankle issue, so I don't know where his mobility's at. But yeah, he, like you mentioned, he runs more than people think.
Yeah.
When he first got to Carolina, Matt Rule had him. I think they went like 2-0, and he had like 3 rushing touchdowns or something. Like you're like, whoa, Sam Darnold is now like this running quarterback. Like I just think that you just take a shot on a longer shot on this one. Sure, the running backs are probably good looks, but yeah, Sam Darnold, I mean, this is his first game in quite some time. So I'm sure he's going to want to try to boost his stock for next season. You know, I think he's talented enough to have a job in the NFL. So maybe not a starter, but maybe he can go somewhere and again, compete. So I think he's got a nice little platform here at home. Yeah, we'll take a shot at Sam Darnold at 22-1.
I think you made the point. He's probably going to be competing next year for the starting job in Carolina against Zach Wilson, who that's just the place where these Carolina quarterbacks go. It doesn't matter. The line doesn't get affected.
Retirement home.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield to PJ Walker, back to Baker Mayfield, on to Sam Darnold. Vegas, like, I don't care. Put whoever you want at quarterback. We're not going to adjust the line. Put whoever you want. Have fun. We're not going to change the line.
I did see a good tweet about that. Gosh, I can't remember. I hate not giving credit for it. But it was like all these NFL teams, they spend, millions and millions on analytics departments and research and all this. It's like, all you got to know if you got a good guy or not is like list him as the starter. If the line moves, then you know he's not good. Yeah. So if the line stays the same, like, or if he moves, whatever it was. But it's true. Like, no matter who you insert in this Carolina quarterback position, there's just not enough talent on this team to score 20 points. Like, so it's hard to back them. And the Broncos just might get to like 16 or 17. And I just don't see the Panthers having enough to get there.
Yeah. I wonder, one thing I didn't look at, but I think would probably be spicy. Did anybody look at total sacks in the game? What's it set at? It's super juiced. Never mind. Okay. Minus 165 for total sacks over 4.5. Never mind.
Yeah, you might. And maybe vice versa there. We could take a stab on the Denver defense. Maybe Sam's getting a little, little loose with the ball. He throws out, and maybe like Surtain or somebody gets a pick six. I could see that happening. I think it's a good game to play a defensive touchdown.
Yeah, I think so. I end up going Sam Darnold with you there. It just
like, I like it.
It just feels like a Sam Darnold, hey, I'm back. And he does some cheesy celebration like he's the best quarterback in the NFL.
I dig it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's boy, I do think after all this, the Carolina is a good teaser piece. Get them up to 8.5, 7.5, something like that.
Denver's not blowing anybody out.
Right. And maybe teasing with the Eagles where you tease them down to a half a point or Zippo or whatever it is. Maybe the Titans. So definitely some options there. I do think the Panthers are a good teaser piece. Don't want to watch much of this game. Don't want to talk about much of this game more. But again, there's not a great slate as we move on here. Atlanta against a surging Washington Commanders team. It's funny. They blew that 17-7 lead to the Vikings about a month ago. If they didn't, they'd be really in good shape to make the playoffs. They might make it anyway with the way the Giants are playing. They still have 2 games head to head against the Giants. This line's bounced around 3.5, 4. Washington hosting Atlanta, total 40.5. Brad, start us off here. Commanders and the Falcons.
Yeah, so I'm on the Commanders here. We've talked about this week in and week out. Taylor Heineke has the it factor for me. He is the guy who fuels this engine. One thing I do want to see them do is kind of get one of their running backs going. Like, I don't care which one they decide, but the running back position in the NFL nowadays is a lot about rhythm. You don't want to have one guy kind of getting 3 carries, and he doesn't touch the ball again until the end of the game. It's you need these guys to be rhythm backs. But from a defensive standpoint, I do like what Washington's bringing here. Did they say if Young was going to play this week? I didn't see that. But Washington's 12th in defensive DVOA. They play good defense. What I also like about this is we've seen this marriage between Heineke and Terry McLaurin just continue to blossom. I think if they continue to just keep growing, they're going to be a scary team. This could be Heineke's team in the future. I think he has that it factor. Like you put Carson Wentz on this team, like it just makes them worse. No one wants to play behind a guy who can lose them a game at any instant. And I'm ready for the Heineke brand new pair of Jordans once he knocks off the Atlanta Falcons.
You guys think Washington makes the playoffs?
It'd take a lot of luck.
That would be like 4 NFC East teams making the playoffs.
They'd have to bump the Giants. They'd bump the
Giants. Yeah, I don't think they'll bump the Giants. I kind of like what the G-men are doing, and I'm hearing Odell's going to sign for them now, which would be a kind of wild thing. Like that's what they need. I mean, if you put Odell on that team, then it really elevates the rest of that roster. I mean,
you want me to read you the Giants' schedule?
Yeah.
Probably going to come down to, because they get 2 games with Commanders. Obviously, those are going to be huge. So they host the Commanders, host the Eagles, at the Commanders. So they play the Commanders twice in 3 weeks. Then they are at the Vikings. They host the Colts. Then they are at the Eagles to finish the season.
That's a tough run.
That's very tough.
Yeah.
So they're 7-4. I think what it's going to, if you're going to try to get this team to 10 wins, it's probably going to take 10 to get in the playoffs. You're going to have to split against Washington. You're going to have to beat the Colts, and you're going to have to hope like hell that Philly does not need the game week 18, and you can beat their backups.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they can. Like, and Doug Peterson, you know, that I remember when the Eagles, they pulled Hurts and everybody and got Doug Peterson fired. You know, I think I like what I see from the Giants. I trust them more. I think they will beat the Commanders. Like, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I just like what they've got more. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but I honestly could be wrong. I don't love this. I kind of like the Falcons catching the 3.5 here. To me, it's even without they lose Kyle Pitts, so I mean it's going to force Mariota to use his wide receivers more. I like Drake London today. I think he can have a nice game. I kind of
that's my first touchdown score.
First touchdown, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's his receptions. Hold on, where are they? I had them up, but
and while you're looking, I'll just say the Giants are 7-4. Washington is 6-5. So if Washington win today, 7-5. Giants 7-4. But Washington's already gotten their 2 games with Philly out of the way, which is interesting.
Yeah, and they won.
And they got to win out. I mean, his yards are like 39.5. Like I can't see how he doesn't clip that. Like it's such a low hanging fruit. Pitts is the only other target monster in that offense, and they're finding ways to get him the ball here. So I think it's a good little prop in this match. You know, playing the Gibson Robinson roulette game is always tough. Like I like both of them to do something in this game because they both get a lot. It's just like a 50-50 split. So and their props show that they're both around 50, a little over 50 yards for their props. Their touchdowns are similar numbers and stuff. So to me, I'm just going to stay away from that Washington backfield altogether. I like playing like McLaurin props and playing London props in this. McLaurin burnt me last week. I gave out the over 4.5. I think he had 7 or 8 targets and only grabbed 4. But I think it's one to go back to here. McLaurin's just too good to not see double-digit targets. I think you got to get get the ball in this guy's hands as much as possible, and good things will happen. So, I'm attacking props, not the side.
First and Gold, presented by Pickett Sports. Download the Pickett app for all your bet tracking need. Shop lines. Pickett is the way to go. Just quickly, like 15 seconds each. First touchdown. Gibson, the short shot, plus 650. Matt, anything catch your eye?
I would say Patterson plays football today, so anytime Cordell Patterson's playing football, he's a good look. I think Logan Thomas just Stacks in the chat said Logan Thomas. Like, I think that's a good look. He's 18 to 1 on DraftKings. I think that's
20 to 1 on
decent-
FanDuel.
20 to 1. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're getting good money on Logan Thomas. I think that's a good look. Drake London, 15 to 1. Yeah, I'm moving away from the running backs probably, and I will play one of the pass catchers. So give me London at 15 to 1. London, he just did it last week. It's very hard.
I think he did it 2 in a row, two games in a row.
He's got it 2 games in a row.
Yeah,
so,
that's what.
Yeah, he's not going to do it 3 games in a row.
And it was the same play. It was the same play that he scored it on. It's just frustrating. Like
that little into the corner there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a decent look. Both quarterbacks are around 20, 25 to 1. Both can scoot, so neither one would surprise me.
Mariota's around 20 to 1. What do I have Mariota?
Yeah, I got him 18 to 1 on DraftKings.
That's a good price.
Yep.
Let's see what he is. 17 to 1 on FanDuel. That's not a bad bet.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of value in this.
Yeah.
So I think I may have a couple sprinkles in that 15 to 20, 25 range because I think there's value. Parker Hesse, 45 to 1 with Pitts being out. Like, I mean, he's going to see the field. I know that Mecole Pruitt, or is that how you say his name? I think he's going to see some snaps as well. But to me, there's too much value down the board to play one of the short shots.
Yeah, no way you're not taking anything more than 10 to 1 on this one. I end up going with London because I just don't want to get fooled again. And then I swear to God, if it goes to Cordell Patterson, I'll probably cry because I think I've played him 2 weeks in a row. But I think that play is just so unstoppable because everyone knows the ball's going to Patterson, and they just do this little run Patterson to the flats. Everyone targets him, and then Drake London's wide open in the end zone.
How about 360 to 1 odds on Darnold and Mariota parlayed both to score the first touchdown?
Oh,
I mean,
don't tempt me with a good time.
Yeah, that would make your Sunday.
Is it the quarterback day?
Yeah, which we haven't gotten a ton of this season. So that's interesting. Anything else you guys want to add to this one?
No, I like the props that I was looking at this game are all super juiced. So I'm just gonna kind of leave that one there.
I mean, this is one I put it in the bet slip just to see the odds. You can't do that because then you have to bet it. You can't just not bet a 360 to 1 once it's in the slip. Then if it hits, you can't live with yourself. So now I gotta put it in 361 odds. I'll throw $5 on it.
Gotta put some coffee money at least on it. Like,
of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Then if one of them hits and the other one doesn't, that'll be super frustrating. But we move on here. Bucks and Browns, interesting game. Cleveland getting 3.5 at home. I kind of think that's the right side. This is a Tampa team that last time we saw was a couple weeks ago in Germany. Maybe they got their stuff together, but laying 3.5 with this team, I know they're getting healthier. I would expect them to win the game, but I would lean towards the Browns. Brad, this is a little showdown here because Brad's a Bucks fan. Matkafee is a Browns fan. As we get official news that official word Justin Fields is out for today, which we expected. Okay. But I guess Brad, you could start us off here. Browns and the Bucks. What you got?
I'm going Tampa Bay here. Like when I just look at this game from the Cleveland Browns, from a statistics standpoint, from a metric standpoint, Cleveland Browns have the lowest PFF rating in run defense. They have I think it's the second lowest. No, it is. Yeah, the second lowest tackling grade per PFF. Basically, what Cleveland Brown does well on defense, pass rush. That's it. They only get to the quarterback. I think this is going to be a huge game, a breakout game for Rashard White here. The Bucks team needed Tom Brady to get through all his drama. Now Tom Brady can go back to focusing on football. I said it last time. When we talked about the Seattle game, and I feel like I was pretty correct about that game where the Bucks are able to start playing real football now. And honestly, at what point in the season are we really going to start trusting the Cleveland Browns here? Like, I think the Cleveland Browns have too good of a roster to not have a winning record, but they're just not a good team. So I actually got the Bucks at -3. Right now it's 3.5 plus 100.
Can't lay 3.5, right? Can't lay 3.5.
No, I can't lay 3.5 here. So if you didn't get the 3, I'd probably pass. because I'm not paying minus 135 for a for a spread. Man, dang, that's tough. I guess I would say I would probably side with the Browns at 3.5, but I do think the Bucs win this one by 4, maybe 3. But I don't want to be caught with the hook there. So yeah, probably at this price, I'd have to go the Browns. But just for everyone watching, I'm on Bucs minus 3 as my circle pick.
Yeah, so to answer your question, when we could start to trust the Browns, probably next week when Watson gets back against Houston. They're gonna blast Houston next week. Like, it's Nick Chubb for 180 yards and 3 touchdowns. Deshaun Watson back for 275 and a couple. The Browns will score 40 points next week. Watch. But this week against Tampa, it's going to be an ugly game. Like I talk about every week. Browns, just no matter what, they seem to always find themselves in like a game, other than the Miami game where we kind of got blown out. Like, we let the other person lead the dance. I guess the other team leads the dance. Now it's going to be a little windy and a little rainy in Cleveland.
Good point.
I think that hurts the Bucs. It helps the Browns. So I think take the points with Cleveland, especially the 3.5. I think the Bucs probably win because the Browns always find a way to lose at the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Tom Brady probably gets the ball. Brissett probably hits Cooper in the corner of the end zone, and the Browns take a 22 to 20 lead or something like that. And then Tom Brady has 4 minutes to go get the winning field goal. Boom, walk-off field goal. Bucs win 23 to 22. I see that game, that playing out perfectly like that. So, yeah, the Browns, we choke and we're bad in crunch time. We're very unclutch. So, but we're competitive. I think across the board, I like some Browns props today. I think the running game is going to be leaned on with this wind and rain. And I think, Rachaad White on the Bucs side, he may have a nice day too. So I would attack Chubb. I would attack White. I like their props. Fade the quarterbacks, kind of fade the passing game a little bit, and just kind of go for lower scoring. Grab the Bucs in the hook, or the Browns in the hook. Sorry.
Jamar Chase officially inactive today, by the way.
Gotta change my fantasy team. What do you think, Matt? What do you think about Chubb's rushing attempt number? I was hoping to get it closer to 15.5, and I think it's 16.5. Which, do you think he carries the ball 17 plus times today?
Yeah, I do, because the Bucs don't have a high-powered enough offense to go get a 14-point lead on the Browns. So,
I think I'm gonna play it.
I may eat my words, and Tom Brady just stuffs it down, like our throats, and we're sitting here like, oh wow, this. I didn't see this at all. But I think it's a slow paced game. I think, like I said, the wind and the rain will probably affect the passing game, and this will be a grinded out kind of game. So Chubb will be leaned on heavily. I mean,
all right, I'm putting a unit on it. It was really just one attempt higher than I projected. Yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead and put a unit on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that it's always Stefanski. Like, you got to wonder, like, he'll get Chubb going and then go away from it. And it's kind of frustrating. Like, we don't really ever need to be out in spread formations. I don't like it. It's not our best. Like, we're our best when we're playing in a phone booth. 12 personnel and just pound some people. But yeah, I want to advise, like, taking caution on some things. Like, I could see that the receiving props are so low. They look like low hanging fruit here. You're like, oh man, like, 30, 40 yards for some of these guys.
Yeah.
It should be an easy clip, but I just don't know. I'll trust what I know, which is Chubb should get the load today. I think he'll get 18 to 20 carries, and you'll cash that 17.
Nice.
Brad, quickly, anything first touchdown before we move on?
I didn't look at the price, but I'm going back to my guy Julio Jones. He's cashed only once, but I'm playing him. I feel like it's kind of funny. Like, Julio Jones is now an afterthought as a football player because he's always hurt, always dinged up. But for some reason, like, they just leave him open for these like 20-yard touchdowns. Like the guy just doesn't play football anymore.
18-1 at FanDuel for Julio Jones. Our next game is an interesting game, a playoff rematch. Just mentioned Chase is inactive. Bengals are laying 1 in Tennessee. Big game for the Bengals because their schedule's really tough coming up. They still have Kansas City, I think, next week. So this is a game here where, you know, you don't want to say their season comes down to this game, but it gets tough here. If you don't win this game, you're going to have a hard time maybe making the playoffs, laying 1 in Tennessee. Brad, start us off here, Titans and the Bengals.
I actually leaned the Bengals here. This is like the first time all year where the Bengals are not the public darling. Bengals right now are only getting 42% of the bets, 71% of the money, versus 58 and 29% for the Titans. And for me, I just think that this Bengals team is going to be able to do enough with their front seven to not make Derrick Henry the game decider. We know Derrick Henry is going to get his. He always gets his. But this Bengals team is in desperation mode. I didn't really care about the Jamar Chase news. Like that, I didn't really think he was going to play. I put him in my starting lineup in fantasy, but ultimately I was just like, whatever happens with him happens. Surprisingly, what people don't realize, this Bengals team defensively is not that bad, right? They have pretty good. They're pretty good against the pass. You know, they're okay against the run. But what I really like about this team is how tough they play and get to the quarterback. Now, I talked about this a little bit last time I talked about the Titans. Is when are they going to start getting more pressure on the quarterback? Is it this game? Is it this game with this bad Bengals offensive line? If they don't get what they got 2 sacks on Aaron Rodgers, I know it didn't matter because they ended up winning that game there. But if they don't get pressure on Joe Burrow, this is going to turn kind of Joe Burrow into this passing this master class of passing. I think that we also see some opportunity here with, you know, their run defense for the Titans is so good, where ultimately you don't want to keep the ball in Joe Burrow's hands. Like you don't if the Bengals game plan for this as being this is the Joe Burrow show, I think they're more effective than if they actually try to run the ball and pound the ball down the Titans' throats. So for me, I think the Bengals win this game. I didn't physically bet on it. I am going to look for some specials for the pass catchers for the Bengals because, like I said, this Titans run defense is legit. So it's going to be the ball in Joe Burrow's hands a lot.
And of course, no Mixon and no Chase. So Burrow, without some of his toys here, Matt, Bengals, Titans, what you got?
Man, this is a huge revenge spot for Tennessee. You remember in the playoffs last year, Tannehill like shit his pants and threw like, you know, a couple interceptions early. And okay, sorry, Croatia just equalized Canada.
No,
they did.
My ADD is kicking in here, but yeah, no, I think this is Tennessee's game. I think Derrick Henry is going to get a ton of carries, like, you know, 22, 23, 24, maybe even more. I think without Chase, it takes a level of it takes that big dynamic play out a little bit. Higgins is still really good. Higgins can get you a bunch. Boyd can win those matchups, but God, Vrabel is just so good at staying in these games. And you take, honestly, probably the 2 best offensive weapons that Burrow has in Mixon and Chase off the team. I know Samaje Perine, 3 touchdowns. I mean,
great. Had like 40 yards. So.
Yeah, great job. Like that was good. But this Tennessee defense is just they're going to hold this team down. I think this is like I said, it's a revenge spot. I think Tannehill he's been chomping at the bit to get back into the playoffs because that left a really bad taste in his mouth. This is a huge win for Tennessee. If they can get this thing done, they're at home too. I like Tennessee on the money line, maybe paired with the Derrick Henry touchdown. I think that's a really nice little script. You can get that at, give me 1 second and I will tell you.
Oh, you're going on a limb money line. They're +1. You don't want to take all those
+1,
points.
yeah. Why even take
the gutsy?
I'm brave here. I'm willing to step out on that limb here and give it to you. But yeah, I just feel like this is the game where the Bengals, I just don't know if they're ready to like do that buckle the chin strap kind of game here. So I'm happy to back Tennessee at home in a revenge spot.
Let me just read the Bengals. Yeah, go ahead.
I was like looking at the specials here. I think they took down all the single player specials with that news. The only one I would play, T. Higgins, Treylon Burks, Robert Woods, 170 yards, 175 yards combined receiving is the only special I play in this game. The Titans are going to have to win this, and for the Titans to win this game, they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit. I like Burks in his return, but he had like 110 yards last week. T. Higgins is going to be the only option for this team. Plus 150, it's okay. It's playable.
All right, I tease the Titans, but I do think, life on the line, I would pick the Bengals to win. I just still don't trust the talent level of this Titans team. And I will say this, if the Bengals do not win today, I'll go out on a limb. If the Bengals don't win today, they're not making the playoffs. They are, let's see, what are they, 7-4? The Bengals record. They are, listen to this schedule. At the Chiefs next week, as I'm pulling it up here, boy, this is brutal. They still have to play. So the Chiefs next week, the Browns with Watson back, at the Bucks, at the Patriots, home for the Bills. Then they finish the season against the Ravens. There is not an easy game on there. Maybe the Patriots won. That's a brutal schedule. They got to win today.
Yeah, they have to. They can't. I mean, Burrow's never beat Cleveland. That Baltimore game is going to matter for Baltimore. They'll lose that game too. I mean, like you said, their schedule is nasty. And Tennessee, man, I think they're I had them in that match against the Bengals.
6-4 for Cincy. Sorry, 6-4. So, boy, they're really on the fringe there. And you figure you got to get to 10 to get to the playoffs. Just going over that schedule again: Chiefs, Bills, Ravens. I mean, that's going to be hard to get at Bucks. That's going to be hard to get them to 10 wins if they don't, especially if they don't win today.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree. What's the price for them to miss the playoffs? Is that a prop you can bet right now?
I'm sure it's up.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's up.
I'll look
You
around
guys
for that while we're chatting. So.
Brad, start us off here. First touchdown, anything for this game? I'm gonna look up this playoff price while you mention it.
No, I didn't play anything on this one.
Well, you have to, Brad. It's a betting show. You have to bet on. No,
come on, man.
Okay. Let me think. Man, who would I want to play here? Maybe Westbrook, Nick Westbrook, whatever you pronounce the name. He's 20 to 1 is a pretty solid price here. Tannehill's pretty good price, 22 to 1. This feels like if a quarterback's getting in this one, it's Tannehill. But no, I didn't actually end up playing this one. I played 3 of them so far today, but I just didn't like the price. Derrick Henry's like literally plus 370. Like that's way too short for me.
Yeah. Bengals to make the playoffs. Yes, to make the playoffs, minus 184. No is plus 158 at FanDuel. That no is juicy.
Yeah.
I might play back because my angle before this, I think it was in the summer or last spring, I gave this out on my page. When the Watson news was coming down, I was like, all right, here's what we play. We play Ravens to win the division. I think it was plus 250. Then we take the Bengals to just make the playoffs. There's no way you're losing both because Steelers aren't winning the division. The Browns without Watson aren't winning the division. So you're going to get one of those teams to make the playoffs. So you're definitely going to win one bet and you're going to might hit both. So I'm hoping the Ravens win the division since he makes the playoffs. This is boy, if I had nothing in pocket, even if I do, I might just hedge off this. No at plus 158 looks really good. Now you're competing with teams like the Jets, since he did beat the Jets. So you're going to have to start to get to some of those tiebreaker scenarios. But, man, that's a tough schedule at plus 158. That's interesting.
Yep, I like it.
Yeah, it is.
Matt, anything just like 10 seconds? First touchdown, anything for you?
Gosh. We will go Austin Hooper.
Okay.
Hooper, okay.
Just looked at the time. We got to go a little quicker here. We're probably,
okay.
You know what it is? There's no buys, so there's more games. So it's my bad job by me rambling on here with all my nonsense as usual. Dolphins laying 14 against the Texans. I want no part of the Texans here. I guess I would pick them. I could definitely see Miami beating up on this team 37-10. Brad, start us off here. Dolphins, Texans.
I strong lean to the Dolphins here, right? So, when I start doing my my picks for Circa, I always want to kind of take dogs, especially double-digit dogs in the NFL. So when I broke down this game, I was like, what is the pathway for the Texans to cover, right? They're coming down to Miami in this Miami heat. It's hot out here. I'm down here right now. I think this Texans team just lays down and take it. It kind of reminds me of that game. Remember I told you guys when the Jags played the Chiefs, where no one's watching this game, and then we check the box score around halftime, and you're like, how the heck are the Jags getting blown out right now? I think this is one of those games where if maybe for a prime time or a Thursday night, Monday night game, I'd be more inclined to take the Texans, but I think they lay down and take it in this game. The Dolphins defensively do enough for me, and their offense. I think they're going to put up a ton of points on this terrible Texans team.
Yeah, that's this is one of these games where like 107, you see the score alert. Oh,
Yeah.
Dolphins scored a touchdown. Then at 118, they scored another touchdown. And it's like goes from there. Matt, anything for you in this game?
Yeah, man. I think Tua has 300 yards today. You can get that at plus money. His line is like 270s in the mid 270s. I think you take an alt line at 300 yards. I think they absolutely cooked this team. Waddle, Hill, yards, catches, touchdowns. Give me it all. I'm not as inclined to jump in on the Jeff Wilson bandwagon as everybody else.
Croatia just scored again, 2-1 Croatia.
2-1 lead on Canada. But rolling back to this, the Dolphins offense is just going to be far too much for this Texans team. I think that they score and they score often. Massive game for all of the offensive guys. So you can't go wrong playing any of the guys, any of the props. I've got a little same game parlay posted in my channel that I think is kind of juicy. It's on the popular parlays tab on FanDuel. If you go to the game, you can catch it. Shout out to everybody tailing that one. That's always fun. So you click the game, you can find it there. It's the one that has Tua, Waddle, Hill, yards and touchdowns in the Dolphins money line. I think it's a nice one. You're getting over 17-1 on that parlay. Like I said, they could run the ball a lot with Jeff Wilson, but I just don't feel like they're going to be their game plan. I think they're just going to stretch this team vertically and put them away as quick as they can. I think it's a first half team total for Miami is a good look too. I think they could score a lot of points here pretty quick.
Totally with you. Moving on here, Bears and the Jets. We're starting to see some 6.5. This was 4.5, then it was up to 7. I thought the 7 was a little extreme. 6.5 is more playable. Jets as a teaser is playable. We're going to have Simeon versus Mike White. Total 38.5. Might be some rain in the forecast here in the Northeast. Matt, just quickly here, Jets and the Bears. Anything you like, or is this a pretty easy pass for you?
Man, if Fields was in, I would like this a lot. If with Fields out, it's hard to like anything in this game. I think the unders might be a good look here. I know it's the Bears, and I talked you guys into playing the overs last week. I'm like, Bears overs always, but
that damn punt return did us in because that game slowed down for a while. That punt return,
Patterson,
couldn't
baby,
afford it. Yeah.
When Cordell Patterson's on the field, touchdowns are going to get scored. So betting the under's tough. It's a tough one, man. This Bears offense clicked when they're like, all right, Fields, you're now going to be a dual threat. We're going to feature the run. Obviously that goes away. So is it Trevor Simeon? Is that
it is former Jet great?
Yeah, another one of the Jets.
Yeah.
Did he have a stop in Carolina too? I think it's a required, it's a connecting flight to your next stop, Carolina, and then on to the next one. But he's much more of a traditional pocket passer. So if you're going to look at anything, I guess you look at maybe Cole Kmet. A quick release. I think the Bears running backs, you can look at their receptions. They'll probably run some screen passes because this Jets defense is kind of nasty still. So you saw they didn't give up any touchdowns to the Patriots. One field goal and one special teams touchdown. This defense is sick, and I don't think Sauce Gardner is going to have any, worries about Mooney lining up with him or whoever else. So I want to take the guys that are short route runners close because that pass rush is going to get there. Give me Kmet, give me the running backs, and on the Jets side, you would think it's Mike White, so I think they'll let him throw the ball a little bit more than Zach Wilson. So maybe you do play some of the Jets pass catchers a little bit. They may be in line for an uptick. Wilson especially, that clip played all week of him just being pissed off. We got to be better. This is unacceptable, So maybe target Wilson's yards and catches today.
Brad, anything to add here before we move on?
No, you could pass on me. I don't like this game from a betting perspective. I feel like maybe maybe they feed the running backs on both teams, keep the ball in the quarterback's hands. But I just can't figure out the game plan for either team here. First touchdown, I'd probably go Cole Kmet. I've taken him a couple of times.
Yeah, I would tease the Jets. Can't afford to lose this game. They're the much better roster. Simeon behind a bad offensive line will not go well. So I'm okay teasing the Jets down here with anything else we mentioned, whether it's the Titans, the Panthers. I think the Jets win the game. I'm not in the mood to lay almost a full touchdown here. We got like 6 games. We got 15 minutes. So again, we got to pick up the pace a little bit. Raiders and the Seahawks, man. If I told you before the season, Seahawks are gonna be laying 4 to the Raiders. It's crazy world we live in. Brad, start us off here. Seahawks, Raiders, anything you got?
Yeah, I'm on the Seahawks here, -4. I think the Seahawks are the better team. The Raiders, they get their little la victory and then they pretend that they just won the Super Bowl. That shows you where their franchise is right now. They're taking small victories as they can. I think Tariq's going to be able to not shut down, but contain Adams here, which kind of neutralizes this Raiders team for me. So I'm on the Seahawks -4.
Matt, just like a minute or so on this game or less. Anything for Raiders Seahawks?
I like Devontae Adams again. Like I think I mentioned 2 weeks ago when the Raiders really bottomed out. It's like he's your best player. You brought him in to feature him, feed him the goddamn ball. Like just everything. Adams, take it. Receptions, yards, touchdown. He's too good of a player. He can beat double coverage. He can beat everything. I think Carr is kind of in that F it mode right now, where he's like, you know what, I'm going to go down. So he's playing like Brett Favre in the last game. It's like just go for it, man. So
yeah,
that's what I trust. I love backing star players to do good things. Like sometimes, yeah, you pay a little inflated price. I'm not going to get too cute here in this game. So give me Devontae Adams props. On the Seahawks side of things, I kind of like DK Metcalf to have a big game. I think it's a nice matchup for him. The Raiders secondary is kind of undersized, and I think he could have a nice game. I'm not sure. I kind of want to go back to Walker. Like he's kind of hit this wall a little bit here where, his production's dropped off a little bit. And I mean, that's probably natural for a rookie. So give me Metcalf, give me Adams, and we can get out of here.
All right.
Cool.
One word answer from each. Your first touchdown, anything?
Adams.
Okay. Sounds good.
Let's do it. Let's do Adams.
Already bet him.
The Chargers are laying 3 in Arizona. Man, this Charger team, that was just such a typical game last week against the Chiefs. They're in position to put them away right before the half. They have a chance to score, get the ball back. They settle for a field goal. They're punting on 4th and inches. Staley has really, sort of lost his guts here. Boy, I would lean towards the Chargers winning. This is another situation. This is a game they probably have to win. Just like a minute from each of you. Chargers, Cardinals, Chargers laying 3.
Chargers for me, better team. I think they get there with the pass rush. I hope we get a better Keenan Allen than we got last week, a more healthy Keenan Allen. We'll see. I think he has a big game here. So Chargers for me.
Yeah, you can get a 2.5 on DraftKings if you like the Chargers. So yeah, it's ticked down a little bit. It's gonna be a fast track, which should be good. I like Eckler to do. I mean, I think he's the biggest favorite for a touchdown on the board today. He's like -200. He should have a pretty good game. I think this is one where Connor and Eckler both are guys to lean on in this one. So touchdown is kind of gross at -200. That doesn't really add much value to anything you're going to play. So probably don't play an Eckler anytime touchdown. But a Connor touchdown, if you can get close to even money, it makes sense for me. Palmer with Williams out, I mean, I think is a good shout. He had a nice long touchdown last week. He's going to kind of be that vertical threat, like Brad mentioned. Allen's the guy over the middle, kind of picking up a lot of yards. But for the vertical threat, let's go Josh Palmer. He would probably be my pick for a first touchdown if you want one.
All right. A game that looked a lot better before the season, the Chiefs and the Rams. Chiefs laying 15.5. Honestly, I would probably lay it in the first half. I know there's some 9.5s in the first half. To me, this game has 34-10 written all over it. A third string quarterback behind a bad offensive line going into Arrowhead. We know the Chiefs are going to get their 30 points on everybody. I know it's square, but sometimes the square side wins. I'm okay laying it here with the Chiefs. Matt, start us off here, Chiefs and the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, how do you not just take the Chiefs offense to just blow up like that. You said 30 points, pretty easy. I'm more inclined to go just team total on this and not try to attack player props because maybe they some of the role players pop off, and then
Yeah.
your guys that you're looking for, your Travis Kelce's and stuff. There's just not going to be the need to continue to feed him and hit his props. So looking at this team total, I want to make
20 and a half for the Chiefs,
yeah, I mean
12 and a
28,
half for the Rams. My goodness, 12 and a half. So
12
yeah,
and a half for the Rams.
that's
Yeah,
why I like the Chiefs. Chiefs are going to get their 30 points against anybody.
Yeah.
Can the Rams get to 17 and cover this? I don't think they
No.
can.
Heck no.
yeah. So I would take the Chiefs team total over 28 and a half. And I think you're in a pretty good range. If you can find an alt team total and bump that up to 30, 31, I think you're in a good spot. You're going to be in that sweet spot.
Yeah, I'm on the Chiefs here, minus 15 and a half. I'm not I mean, if I get beat by this terrible quarterback, then so be it.
Yep.
And like when I was thinking about the prop perspective, I was trying to figure out like a way to play this first touchdown. But I wanted to get a little bit higher price on Pacheco at like maybe 7.5 to 1. He's a little too short for me. So ultimately I end up laying off first touchdown here.
Yeah, you watch Pacheco, you're like, how the hell did that guy go in the 7th round, man? He's a good, tough, hard
Yeah,
runner.
he is.
It's and then they got Edwards-Helaire, who's picked in the 1st round, who's like just not as good. It's funny with running backs. It's a weird position. Moving on here, Saints and the 49ers. These teams played, was it 2 or 3 years ago? Just a classic game. I think it was 45-42. Not sure we'll get that today. The Saints have played a little better lately. The 49ers look like the best team in the NFC. They are laying 9 against the Saints. Brad, what do you got here, Saints and the 49ers?
I'm on Saints. 49ers coming off that big, massive win. I think the Saints, do enough defensively. And this, let me go ahead and make this clear. This is my first time taking the Saints, so they better not let me down this season. But I just think 9 points is too many. And this is like one of those classic games where people are going to be riding all over the 49ers. And it's a good spot for us to kind of get this almost double-digit spread.
It's a lot. Matt?
Gosh, yeah, I can't put any money on the the Saints here. Like, I'm staying away from the spread, even though I think the Niners will cover. This is one where I'm going to attack some player props in this one.
Juwan Johnson to score a touchdown.
I mean, he's a nice complementary piece, but I just don't think he sees the field enough in those sets.
Yeah.
In the red zone, it's very much 12 personnel. You get Ayuk and Debo and Kittle, and those guys, will run their routes. McCaffrey, of course, out of the backfield. I think last week it was kind of Kittle week. I think this week it could be finally let's get Debo the ball. Like, I know Ayuk scored as well. McCaffrey didn't score either, so maybe McCaffrey as his touchdown's too nasty too. It's right up there close to Eckler territory, but I think Debo finds the end zone today, so I'm happy to back him.
All right. Brad, anything for you just quickly? First touchdown?
No, maybe Ayuk, but I didn't play it.
Yeah, I'm with you. This looks a little inflated. The Niners are good, but short week off a monster performance. Again, there's some 8.5. There's an 8.5 at FanDuel. So again, 6-point teaser. Tease the 49ers down to 2.5. That's probably not a bad play. I would expect them to win this game. Again, it's a tough week for sides. I've been saying that. I know it's a cop out to be like, oh, this is a good teaser piece, but it's a hard week to find sides, at least for me. Maybe this will be a live situation, but the night game, another teaser situation. Eagles 6.5. I know this will be a popular teaser leg. They are hosting the Packers. We saw some 7s early in the week. Total 46.5. Brad, anything for you, Eagles and the Packers?
Yeah, I end up going Eagles here. Packers have one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. I like Eagles team total. I like Eagles first half minus 3.5, and I like Eagles spread minus 6.5 here. You have a run first team here in the Eagles against a bad rush defense, and I don't want to put too much stock in counting out a hurt Aaron Rodgers, but he is dealing with that thumb injury. It could cause problems here, and his pass catchers are terrible. Like, we're not going to say that they're good with Christian Watson catching bombs all the time. Like, how long is that going to last? I think the Eagles feast in this game.
Yeah, I like running like Jones props. I think his yardage is a little low, hanging in the 50, 55 kind of range. The Eagles do struggle to stop the run. If the Packers are going to do anything, they gotta have a big game from Jones. With the Eagles, I'm tending to look towards Jalen Hurts' rushing yards. It's dipped a little bit. It's in the high 40s now. I think
Okay.
he's been running a little less, not necessarily by the goal line, but in the middle of the field, he seems to he's trying to save himself. I think a little bit, not take as many hits. So, but I think a nice little parlay with Jones, like a Jones touchdown and his yards with Hurts touchdown and his rushing yards, not passing yards, that's a good look. Christian Watson, you mentioned him. I kind of like his receiving prop at only 38.5. That's probably 2 catches for him.
Yeah.
And maybe even 1 catch for him. Like, yeah, Rodgers is going to take at least 2 or 3 shots downfield to him. So if you can make 1 connection on it, you've cashed that prop. Nobody else is going to be a vertical threat there. Let's see. Yeah, the receptions, they got him at 3.5 receptions. So, I mean, you can get 3 catches. I think he can get you to that prop of 38.5. So, longest reception for him, again, I look at that. It's 17.5. I kind of like that over. I just, again, in a game script where we think the Eagles probably win, I agree with you, Brad, that they're probably going to be the better team and probably have a lead.
Yeah.
Packers, they're going to want to try to take some shots downfield. They got to get some big plays if they're going to stay in this. So Watson's that guy. I'm willing to take a shot on some Watson props in this too.
Some breaking news here. Kay Adams is quite lovely. That commercial with her, she boy, that's an official play for me. Kay Adams is lovely, minus whatever.
You're stepping on Sham's shoes here. Shams,
Yeah.
yeah.
Shams might be coming after you, man.
What do you
Right,
what do you mean? What did I miss?
So on their FanDuel show that they do, she was like, "Oh, and our kids are gonna do this," or like, "Oh, I love you so much," and like all this, and she's like, "I'm just kidding," like, I mean, very, very giddy high school
the
stuff.
NBA insider.
Yeah, I mean,
he doesn't have time to
right
accommodate her
married to the
properly, if you
game,
know what I mean. Yeah, he's tweeting about Jarepko's free agency status. He's getting a workout with the G League. He can't accommodate that.
Right, I know, man. It's he's
that's somebody who needs proper attention, proper love and care.
Right. I mean. No, I know we're getting off the tracks here a little bit, but
rightfully so, though.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
All right, I think we pretty much covered it. Brad, you want to just sort of re-summarize here your best bets? We'll go around the horn here, our best bets.
Yeah, so my best bet, I ended up going with Washington Commanders -4. And then I had to cancel that bet. And then I ended up going with Kansas City 14.5. I added this on the show live for those who are watching, which was Nick Chubb over 16.5. And then I ended up putting a half unit on the special I talked about with T. Higgins, Treylon Burks, Robert Woods combining for 175 plus receiving yards plus 150.
Yeah.
Hard slate.
It is. I mean, especially on the sides, like I think there's a ton of value in the prop market. You just kind of have to dig around. If we're looking at straight up, just looking at the sides and stuff, I think the Dolphins -14 is a good play. I know that sounds crazy, 14, but
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to score 35, 40 points on this team. So if you're telling me the Texans get 25, 26, like in that kind of range, then I'm okay with it. Titans money line, I like that a lot. I think they do handle the Bengals today. And it's not quite best bet, but just under a best bet. I think the Chargers money line. I'm willing to buy out that 2.5 because the Chargers always play a field goal game. You know what I mean? It's always that their number is always 3. So like just take the juice and play the Chargers.
Chiefs are -7.5 at FanDuel here first, but I saw some 9.5s. -7.5 for the first half for the Chiefs. That looks too good to be true. That is probably my best bet. We can make that. I don't know if we have a pick it play of the day. If not,
let's make it. Lock it in.
I'll volunteer that. You can get that at FanDuel. You can get that at BetRivers. Chiefs -7.5. You got to lay -125 or so, but you know what? -7.5. If you beat me, you beat me. That for me is the pick and play of the day. I also tease the Jets and the Eagles, both down to -0.5. I have the Jags plus 3.5, and I tease the Panthers and who did I tease? The Panthers with the Titans. So pick it, play of the day is the Chiefs, and really more of a teaser day than a side day. But
Yeah, it is.
boy, that Chiefs one, doesn't that look too good to be true?
I don't know. I'm falling for the trap if that's what's
Me
happening.
too.
Like,
I mean, this is 21-3 at halftime or 24-10. I mean, what is this going to be? This is going to be like a 7-7 game at halftime. There's no way.
yeah.
Strange because they usually don't. If it looks too good to be true, usually it is. But maybe this is one where we regret we didn't bet more at 5 o'clock tonight.
Or the books know something, and Mahomes interception on the first play, and it's a Rams touchdown. And you're like,
yeah,
oh my God, here we go. Like,
here we go.
Right, which is possible. The Rams defense has still played hard for the most part. I mean, you still have a team with Ramsey and Donald, so it's not impossible. But man, good luck.
For sure. Yeah, this is going to be one, I think, where the announcers are just talking up other things like the whole time to try to get it,
like Kay Adams.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, boys. Well, we covered it right around an hour. This was fun as always. Matt McAfee, BradThomas. Follow us on social media. Retweet the show. We'll be here every Sunday. We have shows through the week. So first and gold. Appreciate it. Gold boys, Pickett Sports. Enjoy the games. Good luck with all your plays. See you guys.
See ya.